hear people talking and laughing and getting along. It's so good. It's so awesome. You can certainly tell by the turnout that there is a transformation going on in the attitudes of the citizenry of Hawaii. They're done. That's right. We don't actually come with a lot of expectations other than the fact that we stand together as one people. The fact that we have each other is all we need. Did you know that? May I just say to you together, if we're in unity, there's no stopping Aloha Freedom Coalition. Yeah? And it's not about Aloha AFC, it's about unity. And it's about liberty, and it's about truth. So we're going to kick the evening off. I mean, we've been kicking the evening off. How's the food, everybody? The food is so good, you're out of plates. And maybe people were double plating, because you know when you want to get plenty, you put double plate, right? So it doesn't bend on you? I don't think so. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and just keep on eating and enjoying each other while we get the program started. It's not really a program, it's more of an opportunity. This is an invitation. I want to tell you right now that tonight is not a program, tonight is an invitation. And the invitation is for you to stand with your neighbor for the cause of freedom. We must stand. There's no other option. And I want to give you a little background. Aloha Freedom Coalition was started 1 year ago in September. So we're almost 1 year old. And actually, the coalition was founded after Bud Stonebraker's campaign didn't prevail, which was a total bummer. We worked hard for Bud because we believe in his principles and what he stands for. Right? Amen? Did you know that this ranch is where we have church together? This is called a ranch, where people get rooted and built up. But we came together as a group of people after his campaign didn't prevail, and we said, well, what are we going to do? So AFC was launched last September. I'm just giving you a little bit of historical background so you have some context for the conversation and why we're here. I'm not going to belabor it, other than to say that we basically have been working within 4 pillars. We've been working within government, business, media, and the church. Those 4 pillars are the actual 4 pillars of most societies, the ones that we've decided to work within. And now it's morphed because things change. Things are changing at an exceedingly fast pace. And they're not changing for the good. So we must change, and we must stop playing defense. We must play offense. The time to stand is not next week, by the way. Many of you are here today because you've heard of Governor Ige's latest mandate where all state employees are to be vaccinated or possibly terminated. I know, I think boo's pretty appropriate. Boo. If I didn't love God, there would be other things that would be appropriate. But I exercise self-discipline to honor Him because I know if I honor Him, He'll bless what we're doing. So I just want to say a couple of things about that, and that is the fact that I want you to know something, that this battle that we're in is actually a spiritual battle. I just want to tell you that, whether you know that or not. What we see in our community is the fruit of darkness. But what we hold up, the Son of God, the fruit is light and life and liberty. So I'm not only inviting you to get into a brawl. Iron sharpens iron, so one man unto another. Is that right? So when you see your neighbor, when you see your brother, when you see your sister, your auntie, and they're thinking about the shot, would you just go to them and say, listen, you cannot do this, and this is why. But you must know the why. You cannot sit back anymore in the bleachers. And we have bleachers here, but I just use this metaphor, we're going to move. On the football field, there's the bleachers, those who stand and play armchair quarterback. Who does that? Come on, that's right. One guy's honest back there. But then there's the guys on the field playing, getting beat up, playing the game. They're on the field. So the time of being in the bleachers is over. You must get on the field. So, Aloha. So we have back there an action table. Julia, would you raise your hand? Right under the hoop. There's a slam dunk for you over there. I'm full of them, good night. The action table is an opportunity for you to engage in our community in specific ways that matter to you. Notice, we're not telling you how to do it, we're just telling you to do it. So with that, one of the things that we want to do is we want to acknowledge the fact that we have these Huis. They're spread throughout the islands. I think there's 10 or 12 of them now that are really functioning. They average in size from 10 to 40. There are opportunities for you to engage with your fellow citizens and figure out what are we going to do in my neighborhood? How am I going to engage my store owner? How am I going to support the store owner that doesn't require a vaccine? Would you not go, that's right, would you go to a restaurant that serves you without asking you to write down your address? That's where you need to go. You want to vote? You want to vote with your wallet. And when somebody gives you a hard time, will you just tell them why what they're doing is wrong? And let them know you're not visiting their establishment because of their stand, period. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jody Allione. She's the director of the Huis. She's going to come up and share about the Huis and do an interview. So, Jody?
Aloha. Welcome to the AFC Hui. Now, we started up the Huis to provide a safe place where we could go in our neighborhood and talk about what was bothering us. Where a place you can go as things got worse, where you could find help and reinforcement for the trials and the tribulations which are just getting worse by the minute. We wanted to find a group of like-minded people in each neighborhood. When you go to the store, you go, hi, okay, we're not wearing masks, we're cool. Or maybe you are, but you know each other. Ultimately, I see this as being an underground network for services that we're all going to need. Whether it's food, whether it's medical exemptions, whether it's doctors who will write us the right prescriptions, whether it's support for our sick relatives and friends. This ultimate underground economy is now looking at things like food, farmers markets, growing, sharing growing skills. So we're doing all kinds of things that are impacting us now, and now we're going to support those people that are being told they have to get that shot. So now we have 10 Huis across this island, and then we have a Maui group and a Big Island group. So on the back table there's a chart, and if you sign up with us, you want to be in a Hui, we'll assign you to one in your neighborhood. Or you can form your own if you have enough friends. So I want to introduce you to a couple of Huis. There's no real structure, there's just people getting together and doing what moves you to help fight the battles. So Rich, come on up, let's talk about it. Rich Glendon is a representative. Rich is a representative of the Kapolei Hui, and he's a leader like nobody's business. So I wanted to ask him a couple of questions. First, y'all want to know, I actually want to know, how did Rich find out about AFC?
Brother Joe Glenn on Instagram. That's how I found out about AFC. Because I didn't even know that anybody existed back then when this whole thing started. I was like the only guy, never wore a mask, never social distance, never complied to any of this stuff because I know it was bogus from the start. And with all the truth coming out, I know that a lot of people, they get very sensitive about this whole COVID thing, you know. But you gotta look at the data, the no isolation of the virus, and all that stuff. It's all out there. You gotta seek the truth. Then you know that it's just flu, you know. But once you understand that, then you can take it to the next level. But anyway, that's how I met Joe and got started on his journey with AFC.
And you forgot to say, he brought somebody in here named Jody who was a coordinator, and she's the powerhouse. And they work together, so the Huis don't fall on one person, it can be a group. Now Rick, what is the mission of your Hui, and what are your chief activities?
Actually, I was gonna bring up Jody in this second question. Because Jody, I'll call, yeah? When all of this started happening, I was thinking to myself, if there's two people that are well connected within our homestead community is Jody and Ivalani. And those are the two people that I reached out, and you know what? It's so awesome because we got some of the greatest ohana that's networking with everybody from Kapolei out to Nanakuli and Waianae as we try to get more of our Kanaka involved with this movement to stop these vaccines. And that's what it is, because, you know what I mean? The government can, they can try to impose whatever they like. But if we rise up, we can end this stuff. You know what I mean? And we're going to end this stuff.
Tell them about some of the things you're doing and that you plan to do in the future as things are getting more drastic with your hui.
You know one thing with us Kanakas, we all know, when push comes to shove, civil disobedience with kapu aloha. That's how we go. Mauna was one that way, called Kaolave. Well, guess what? This fight against everything that's coming on, the New World Order, One World Government is bigger than anything else. You know what I mean? And I think this is what's going to unite everybody together. You know what I mean? Every race and everybody got to come together because that's how we're going to win. You know, we got to network. That's how we're going to build communities, get together with the naturopathic doctors. You know what I mean? Find all those people. We all got to do our part. And that's how we're going to get stronger. Monday State Capitol, you know, Uncle L called out, I call him Brother L, right? He called out for all Kanakas to come out and protest. The next thing, civil disobedience. You know, sometimes that's what you gotta do to get your message across if this doesn't work. You know, but we gotta stay strong. We gotta look for everybody out there that needs support, whether it's resources or whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody gotta do. We have a lot of resources. We need AFC kind of get all the resources printed out, and we gotta get them out there publicly. You know, so then that way people don't feel like they need to take the jab. You know what I mean?
We have movies of Rich engaging in some of the big Hawaiian celebrations, and he goes one-on-one with these people and the brochures, and he's amazing to watch. He's an inspiration. Thank you, Rich. We're all going to look to you for our example to move forward.
Mahalo for just being here. It's a blessing. And, you know, seeing everybody over here. Aloha.
The other Hui leader is one of our originals, is Jen Macagnone. And she has a hair salon in Kaimuki. Come on over, Jen. She has a big Hui. And part of having a big Hui is managing 40 people. I think she's up to 45 now, and directing them. So we're still trying to work on how do we get people fully committed and engaged. But I wanted you to tell us how you found about AFC, because you've been here for quite a while now.
I found out on Instagram through Hawaiian Freedom Keepers, and I found out about the AFC First Freedom Rally. And when I got there, I went straight to the tent. And you actually were the one that signed me up. And I told her, I said, I want to be a leader. And she's like, okay, you were so excited. But I just showed up and said, I'll be a leader.
And she has been. And she uses her salon to meet it. And she's encouraging other business owners to sign up. What's the main mission of your Hui, and what are the main activities you've been engaged in?
Well, we meet once a month, and I usually like to have action plans for the group, and I like to let them know about the laws and websites and different resources that they can do to empower themselves and stand up. Yep, and I wanted to do a shout out on tomorrow. They're setting up a vaccine clinic, a free vaccine clinic in Kaimuki at the 10th Avenue Rec Center from 9 to 2. And they're going to be there this Sunday and then August 29th. So if any of the sign waivers want to come out and cause trouble, come on out.
What are some of the things you think you might engage in the future as things are getting more drastic?
Definitely empowering people on how to stand up to their employers and into the Department of Education and fighting for your rights and getting religious exemptions and mask exemptions and going to the rallies. And definitely Monday, we need you to come out. We had a great time today at the Capitol. It was so great to see everybody out there. Thank you so much. And the sign reading and all the honks we got, it was so great. So we need you guys out there. We need numbers. We got to show them that we really are making a difference and we're not going to take it anymore. So thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, we now have about 230 Hui members in 10 groups, and we'd like to double that today. So sign up if you can, and thank you very much.
All right. Please put your hands together for this lady. You have no idea how many Zoom calls she does. You know, most people have to go in and like put in a Zoom call for an invitation, right? She doesn't. She just gets near the computer. That's how many she does. It's automatic for her. It's really amazing. Hey, so thank you, Jody. It was a great deal, and thanks for the testimonies. I just want to say that that now we have, you know, one of the things that we've been trying to do at AFC is develop legal strategies to fight the courts, to fight the mandates, to fight all of it. And we've talked to numerous attorneys. We actually discussed within our leadership about 6 or 8 months ago, establishing a fund for financing a legal battle. It's been very difficult. The courts in Hawaii are very difficult because they're appointed by the governor. So if you can see a small conflict there, that's a problem. In addition, the emergency mandates have essentially set aside your constitutional rights. Did you know that? Which also makes it's exactly right. Whoever said that, amen to that. Which also makes it exceedingly difficult to fight the courts in a legal matter. But we have found somebody who is willing to come and address us this morning. He's going to be in the back. So if you have questions and you'd like to participate at some level, I can tell you this right now, we are going to be sending out a capital campaign to raise funds for hiring an attorney. It's going to come. We're wording it now. And so my request is, I don't know how many people are here. Take a guess. 400? So if 400 people gave $100 each, we'd be well on our way. If 400 people would give $500, we might be able to do damage. So I mean, I told you today is a day of invitation. This is part of the invitation. You must step up with your wallet. This doesn't happen without money. I'm just telling you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Honolulu's attorney Michael Green. So Michael, he's coming to the next slide.
It's very scary that people would applaud for me. I was thinking I'd be ducking and things like that. It's really an honor to be here. I have to tell you something. I've been here in Hawaii 32 years. Can you hear me now? It's never been a problem for me. I'll speak louder. Okay, I come from both sides of the aisle in this case, and I want you to know that. Also know the $300, $400, $500, I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't set any prices on anything. I have a son who's a football coach at Kamehameha. I have a grandson who speaks Hawaiian who's at Kamehameha. And God saved my wife, who was paralyzed twice with COVID. And she's been home 7 months. We have nurses around the clock. I know both sides. This might be one of the most important cases I've ever been involved in my life. I've been in 25 states representing people over my lifetime. I've been here 32 years. The last thing you'll want is a lawyer in your life. There's no question about that. This country is terrified about what's going on. I'm going to give you an analogy about Kamehameha schools, and I go back longer with them than almost any lawyer. I represented Lokilani years ago. I represented over 30 men decades ago who were molested by Dr. Brown. I have more of those clients. I know the hearts of these trustees for their children and the legacy of Hawaii. I understand it. So when they came out with a proclamation that said for football, that activity, the players, the coaches, the people involved in that program are either going to be vaccinated or the program is over, ain't no way that they're going to pick one sport and decide that that one sport is going to be segregated from the school. And they knew that. So now, after speaking to them a few days later, now everything's canceled. All extracurricular activities. Whether it's the choir, whether it's the marching band, whether it's the song, whether it's dance. But you know, as an example, that school and every other school in this state and country understands the importance of extracurricular activities for the health and growth of your children. there's a Latin term called parents patriae, and they become the parents of your children when you entrust them to take care of your children. It makes no sense to pick on activities that are outdoors when indoor activities, going to class, they're free and clear of any testing or things like that. I think there's a way out of this. And we have a team, some very, very good lawyers from Harvard that are working on injunctive relief right now. It's a little different with unions. I was shocked to speak to some firefighters here where their union told them to shove it where the sun don't shine. And if they don't like it, go get another job. How does the governor come out with a proclamation that says, if you're not inoculated, if you don't have it timely, you have to be tested. But if you are inoculated, you don't have to be tested. How backwards is that? That's insanity. Because if you are inoculated, it doesn't mean you're free and clear from this disease. The head of the nurses union the other day advocates being inoculated for nurses, but it's not mandatory. They know as much as anyone else about this disease, and people are terrified about what's going to happen to their children, their jobs. For someone to tell you, if you don't put something in your body, and no one is positive what it's going to do by way of a vaccine, whether young people that want to become pregnant, what it does to them, to older people, to children who have died after had this vaccine, to tell you have to do it or you can't pay your rent, you can't feed your family, that's a bunch of crap. I can tell you that the group we have are committed. I never once spoke about attorney's fees when I was contacted by Gary and his group of people. Never once. I mean, there's a lot to do. And I have a little bit of vindictiveness in me. I don't see the little guy in my lifetime being walked on. Because when they walk on you, pretty soon they work their way uptown to the doctors and lawyers who have money and they have some clout. There's a lot of politics involved in here. This lawsuit, this injunctive relief, probably will be filed in federal court. I have a lot of friends in circuit court, but I don't necessarily want the ones that have been appointed by the governor to make decisions on what happens in your lives. So, one of the things you probably heard about and maybe didn't think about. The mayor comes out the other day, and he's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. And what he said leaved an opening in the door from what I could see as a lawyer. And he said that there clearly are religious reasons people may not want to be vaccinated. And the way he explained it, he said, you know what? The way we're going to do this is, the word he used was, it's going to be the honor system. If you come out and say, you know what, to anybody, my religious beliefs tell me that I don't want you sticking a needle in my son, my daughter, my father, my mother, my sister, or brother. We have religious reasons against that. They're not going to call your pastor, your minister, your rabbi. There's stuff all over the Bible that talks about God healing you, and it's not an injection with fluid in your arm. If you have medical reasons, it's an exemption. All you have to do is agree to be tested. I don't know that if people say, you know what, screw them, I don't want to be vaccinated and I don't want to be tested, that's not so good. Not so good. Because you want to be safe in your home, you don't know who you're walking next to and things like that. I think testing may be the way out. And if, for example, Kamehameha schools, I really believe they want to find a way out to help people. But it's going to be an individual decision at some point in time. I can only tell you, for the time I have here tonight, I will be as aggressive as I can for everybody that wants to participate. I couldn't be more grateful for being invited here. Whatever we have to work out for attorney's fees, we're going to do it. Lawyers make enough money in this town, they don't have to gouge you. So, as far as I can tell, and I believe this, and I think everybody here that has a background and has been educated themselves about this, from the day that Biden was elected president, there was pressure put on the FDA. It's almost every day to try to get them to come out and endorse these vaccinations. And they haven't done it yet. but I believe it's coming. That doesn't mean we can't win the fight. It just means it's one portion of our argument that becomes diluted. If they don't say it's okay, they're not endorsing this vaccination, and you want me to stick it in my kid's arm or my arm? Not gonna happen. I will do everything I can to help you folks. I'll make myself available to you, our team available to you, and we'll do whatever we can. One of the issues that came out was Kamehameha picked October 2nd as their drop dead day. I plan on meeting with them certainly before that. Public workers, other people who have been given August dates, September dates, there's no way in the world you can have 2 vaccinations if you decided to, if they broke you down by August. So all I can tell you is that for someone to work as long as you folks have, to love your families, to work hard to be in this, the greatest place I've ever lived, 32 years here. This is one Ohana. And to be told that maybe you can't feed your kids if you don't do what they tell you to do, maybe you can't pay your rent because you don't listen to them, I don't believe anyone's going to put up with that. And if they have to go down fighting, they will. And I'll do my best to make sure there are teams next to you to fight for you. And the people in this town know I'll give you every drop I have. So, when we're done here, I want to stay for the program. As I said, I'm honored to be before you folks. I'll be back there. If somebody wants to ask some questions, I'll try to answer them. I'm trying to get the work done within the next 5 or 6 or 7 days to try to have something drafted to file something. And I haven't lost my faith in our federal courts. Those judges are lifetime appointees. They don't have to worry about the governor or somebody else reappointing them every 10 years. I still have faith. Almost a half a century doing this in plenty of places. I don't need it, but thank you. So, as I said before, there's still hope. There's still light at the end of the tunnel. And I can't believe the people in this town that grew up here that now have positions of prominence, whether they're elected officials, whether they're appointed officials, whether they're teachers, whatever they are, that they're going to give up on folks like you. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. And as I said, we'll give them everything we have to let them make a fair decision for you folks. Remember, there are exceptions to taking the vaccine. It's a medical claim, and they're not going to subpoena your doctor and get your records to see what the medical claim is. And there's a religious exception. That one is really important. I mean, I asked my daughter about it tonight, who goes to Bible study, and in a matter of half an hour, I have 10 sites from places in the Bible that, in my view, legally can be challenged. But nothing is for sure. Anyway, God bless you guys, and thank you.
Thank you, Michael Green. We need all the lawyers we can get. If you know any friendly lawyers, please turn them our way. Welcome. I saw so many of you show up here, kind of look around like, where am I? And I remember the first time I came here was in the middle of a lockdown, right at the beginning, and someone told me to come out here. I had no idea what I was getting into. And I got here and there were like 200 people, no masks, hugging each other, food. I just started sobbing. It just felt so good to see real humans again and not robots, not just eyeballs. One thing that the Hui leaders meant to tell you, everyone who's not on Telegram, that's one of the main ways that we reach out to people. There's all kinds of Telegram groups. Sorry, I know the sun's in your eyes. Just close your eyes until the movie comes on. So yeah, please get on Telegram. Bunch of different groups on there. Our action group, our Hui groups, our information group. And then also, you already had the food over at our tables. We have shirts, we have stickers, we have different people making different things. Masks are muzzles. If you saw, there's some businesses that are being discriminatory. You can only go if you're vaccinated. If you feel like grabbing some of these and posting them anywhere, Jim Crow days, I'm telling you, history repeats itself, right? I also have, They have stickers back there that you can grab. This ends when we make it end. There's all kinds of stickers like this. And mask exemption, sometimes it helps to just pull this out at TJ Maxx or whatever and just say, I'm exempt. And then they don't ask many questions. There's a phone number on there and everything. So I'm a teacher. We all got the news the other day. I think that we have some maybe HPD here, some firemen, some teachers. We're all in the same boat. We're nervous, but guess what? You're in the right place. We've been waiting for you. I'm thankful that Ige is ramping things up because people will wake up more. Today we have, 1,000 people here? Tomorrow 2,000, then 4,000. Everyone's gonna come looking because we're the solace. What's happening is unfair, we know it. In schools, they don't teach about the Holocaust anymore. They don't teach about Stalin and communism. People don't know what happens, but guess what? We've had these things happen in Hawaii. We had the Japanese internment camps. We had Hansen's patients sent away. What happened was horrible, and we can't let these things happen. And in the past, maybe people could get away. There's nowhere to go. This isn't just here. This is the whole world. I hear so many people say, oh, maybe I'll move somewhere to the mainland or here or there. Don't move. We need to stand and fight. We need to stand and fight. We're doing our best to bring people who can help with that fight, and we just need you guys on the ground. Monday, we're having a protest. You can ask at any of the tables about that. We bring in special speakers, like today. We have Eric Moutsos. He came here all the way from Utah. He's here with 3 of his 4 children. So, let's see, I want to get this right. We've got his 3 daughters, Ava, Devery, and Rachel. They're here with him, and I've been seeing them walk around with their beautiful smiles. So I'm just so grateful to the speakers like Eric who have done incredible, courageous things, and they're here to share with us and inspire us. And so Eric, his story is he actually was an aspiring country singer. And he opened for some top people like Colin Ray, amazing country singer if you look on YouTube. And then he got married, and so he had to get serious, and he became a Salt Lake City police officer. And then he ended up in a situation where he had to listen to his moral conscience, and it meant having to leave the police force because they were asking him to do something that for him wasn't right. And so he left. It took bravery to step away from a career he had wanted, that he was part of, and he did it. And he started his own marketing company. And then what happened? Well, it was 2020, and we all know everything just kind of, right, from there. And so when that happened, the lockdowns happened. And all the small businesses like his suddenly were at a loss. So he went, he got creative, he's an entrepreneur, and he brought everyone together, and he said, no, we're not gonna let them do this to us. I'm a police, am I afraid of, going to jail? I am. It's scary, you don't wanna be a criminal, but guess what? There's a higher power, there's your moral conscience, we know what's right, we are not criminals, and we're not gonna let people tell us that we are. And Eric knew that, so he brought everyone together. And there were thousands of people. I don't want to say too much about it, because that's what his movie is about tonight. It's called Non-Essential. I'm actually wearing his shirt. If you like it, that's from Eric. It says, I'm essential. Every single one of you is essential. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You are all essential. So, what's going to happen is Eric's going to say a few words. We're going to see the movie, and he'll be here for Q&A. But first, I have one other speaker. Her name is Becky, and she's the one who actually told us about Eric and said, check out this film. You want this guy to come here? He's ready to come. And each of us, we've seen, I'm sure a lot of you have too, over the past 18 months. You've seen so many different videos, so many amazing speakers. Some of them just really grab at your heart. They resonate, and you're just like, yes. And so each person in our leadership group who had to make the decision, we bring him here, he resonated with each of us in a different way. And we thought, yes, we want this person here. And so I trust that he's going to resonate with each and every one of you tonight as well. So Becky turned us on to him. He resonated with her when she found his film. Her name is Becky Sampson, the lady I'm bringing up right now. She's a health advocate and a life coach. She struggled with obesity for much of her life. There should be a picture coming up in a second. as I introduced Becky. She struggled with obesity and all kinds of diseases that went along with it. And the medical system failed her. And about 12 years ago, with the help of God and with the help of an amazing support group, she was able to let go of 130 pounds. And so, yes, woohoo! And so she's been all about natural health. We don't need this jab, guys. I hope you realize all we need is to run, eat well, breathe the good air. Don't sit there and stare at Netflix. Get out. We need to exercise and stay healthy. Okay, and with that, I bring you Becky, and right after that, Eric.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much. I first want to thank Gary for putting together this coalition. I also want to thank Pastor Bud for allowing us to be here and all the hard work that you guys do. Because it's really important. Freedom is very, very important. And so let me tell you a little bit about my story. So I have struggled with obesity my entire life. And in about 12 years ago, I started in this journey. Oh, that's me. Yeah, and so the reason why I'm so passionate about freedom is because I know what it feels like. What it feels like. This right here was not a free woman for me. I'm not saying for anyone else, but for me, I wasn't free. Every single time I went into the doctors, they were ready to give me prescriptions. That's all they knew. And the other day I went in to meet with a specialist because I have an ear infection. And he says, the first thing that happened before I went in to talk to him is the nurse asked me, where do you want your prescription sent? Excuse me? I've seen hardly any doctors in the last 12 years since I lost the 130 pounds. So that's when my waking up started happening, is because once I started releasing the weight, I started seeing the lies. I started seeing what the government is doing to our health system. Because every time I went into the doctor, they'd give me a prescription. Well, who makes money on prescriptions? Okay, so all those health problems that I had as being obese, what does that feed? That feeds the hospitals, that feeds the prescriptions, that feeds the depression, the anxiety. And I started waking up, and I went 9 years without seeing a doctor. I didn't do this by myself. I used to think that I had to do everything by myself. I got connected to a group, a 12-step program that dealt with addiction recovery, and that's what I do, and I still do that today. I actually brought it to the islands, and it's free. It's an absolute free program. So I run it here on Oahu. So when COVID hit last year, I saw right through it. What's the very first thing when they say start isolating yourself? Addiction. Because we as a community need to stay connected. So immediately I started seeing all my friends in addiction recovery going, like, where do we go now? And we had to go online. Thank goodness for online stuff, because now I have a greater reach. I can help anybody on the island that's struggling with food. And I immediately said, this is not okay. And it became very apparent to me what was happening. I am a full-time student at Brigham Young University, if you guys know about that. Thank you. On the North Shore. It's taken me 28 years to get my degree for various reasons. I'm on my last semester, and they said to me, I cannot complete my degree because I'm not willing to get vaccinated. And I said to them, you do not get to choose what goes in this body. I have worked very, very hard. So I made a comment. So I had, the whole BYU thing is up there, and I love my religion, by the way. I love God. God is what helped me get from there to here, and 100%. So I love my religion, but I don't agree with what's going on, and I really stood up and started speaking openly. Also, not just for me, but for the other students. And by the way, I'm going to go to law school, so wherever you are, I'll be your paralegal. I'll work with you. But anyway, there was some comments on Facebook. Eric had made a comment, and that's how we got connected. And I reached out to him. He sent me this documentary, and 4 minutes and 32 seconds into the documentary, I sent him a message, a private message that said, "Call me." He called me, and we've never talked before. I said, "Call me. You are absolutely right on to what's happening to us in our society." Because you'll see. And we had this conversation, and I said, "Hey, I just got these guys I got connected to because they made a comment on some stuff that we have going on in social media there." And that's how we got connected. And Eric, I have just had such a great time getting to know him. I made the connection. I said, we need to have him out here because this matters that we stand up for this body, and we have to decide whose side are we on. And believe you me, if God can do this, right? Then he can protect us and he can take care of us. We need to stand and have the courage to do that. Thank you very much.
All right, time for Eric, but just really quickly, can you raise your hand if there's an empty seat next to you? We have a lot of people, and if they can come sit down. So folks in the back, if you see that, feel free to go next to any of these raised hands. Also, I know everyone's excited to see each other, but the chatter in the background, it makes it hard for some people to hear. So we're so happy you're connecting, but could you go more out on the lawn if you're gonna talk? And then anyone here, please just pay attention to the stage. Thank you so much. And with that, here's Eric. We are so honored to have him. Please give him your warmest aloha.
Aloha. Thank you. My name is Eric Moutsos. I am a recovering government employee. Growing up, my mom, she was a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. I don't even like to say Delta anymore because of what's happened to the airline industry. It's unbelievable. But we would fly everywhere for free, right? And we'd always come to Hawaii, and it was my favorite place in the world. We'd come twice a year. We'd always get bumped off flights, and our family would be crying because we couldn't get on seats, and we'd all get here finally. I just remember I was so happy when I would get here because I'd always see everybody, hang loose, hang loose, hang loose. And so I brought my girls. Girls, where are you at? Where are you at? They're somewhere. But I brought my girls here, and I was really sad. And I was really sad because the spirit that I had felt growing up, it wasn't here anymore. Yeah. And that spirit is fear. And it's a real thing. And that's why I've loved going around and doing these events that you're about to see in this documentary, because there's a spirit to liberty. And God created us to be free. That's how He created us. And so I've been trying to tell my kids, hey, this isn't normal. This isn't normal. What you've been seeing the last year and a half, this isn't okay. And I remember my daughter, my youngest daughter, Rachel, I get all choked up about it, I'm sorry, but months ago, when they started to muzzle our children, if I could do more than third grade math, I'd have done homeschool, but that's what happens. She said, "Dad, what can I do to be courageous like you?" And I just thought about it. I said, "Rachel, tomorrow don't wear your mask." And you know what she did? Rachel, come here. Where are you at? So I want to bring up my daughter Rachel because we're going to tell a story. So I'm gonna have Rachel kind of tell what she did. So go ahead, Rachel.
So when I was in school, they would keep telling me to put on my mask, and I'd say no, thank you.
Just over and over. No, thank you. No, thank you. And so what happened?
So sometimes they would bully me. but I would just say still no thank you.
So she would fight back. So thank you, Rachel. And they knew who her dad was. Because when this whole thing started, so back in March, can you just raise your hand and don't be embarrassed, okay? Don't be embarrassed if you don't raise your hand, but as soon as this happened, how many of you knew in your heart that something was wrong? Okay, so this is good. Because there was a lot of people that are still thinking that this is the right thing to do. A year and a half later, I got into law enforcement because I wanted to help people, okay? I got into it because I wanted to serve and protect. And unfortunately, when I say the left, I don't want to get political, even though this whole thing is political. I just don't want to get into right versus left, okay? Most organizations have been completely hijacked by the far radical left, okay? And when I say that, there's also far radical right. I'm from Utah. We have Mitt Romney, okay? And so on both sides, it's the same. It's just one cheek to the same you know what. And so when I say this, most institutions have been hijacked by the left, including and sadly police, unfortunately. And that's why we should have elected sheriffs and not appointed chiefs. Now, if the appointed chief is going to do the right thing where they're not going to lose their job, absolutely. I back the blue, okay? But I back the blue when they back the Constitution of the United States. And so we have to give praise where praise is due, and we have to get loud when it's time to get loud and say, you're wrong. And that's what we have to do. And so what happened, so how I got into this whole thing, okay? My department back in 2011, they wanted us to arrest 5 people per day, okay? Misdemeanors. This is in Salt Lake City, Utah, okay? And I challenged I don't want to get into all of it. I have a book on my website for free. You can read about it. I challenged him and I said, I'm not going to do it, Sergeant. And so I got in big trouble. I didn't get written up though. Why didn't I get written up? Because then they would know that we had quotas, right? And so the Salt Lake City Police Department, they are infiltrated by the left, the far left, okay? And so everything they do, they use the police for political purposes. They use the police for pawns. Most cops that are going around doing what they're doing, they don't want to be doing this. I heard there's going to be police officers here. They don't want to be here, you guys. But guess what? There's going to come a time when they need to stand up and do the right thing. So it's up to us. And so it's up to us to give praise where praise is due. And it's up to us to get loud when it's time to get loud. And right now, give yourselves a round of applause for being here because you're the most radical group in Hawaii. So, how I got out was I finally made it over to the motorcycle unit. And they wanted 5 of us. This was back in 2014. They wanted 5 of us to come in on our off day and they wanted us to celebrate, okay? They wanted us to celebrate in our uniform in the LGBT parade. Now listen to me before I get into this, okay? Just listen to me. The far radical left are using good people in the LGBT community for political purposes, okay? There are good people in that community, okay? Just because I may disagree with them theologically or spiritually or whatever, they're still good people and I love them. I did not want to be in the parade, okay? I did not want to be in it. I said, I will protect the parade. The police need to be there to protect their right to speak, okay? But they should not be forced into speech. That is not the purpose of police, to be used as political pawns. So I asked for a trade. I went to another officer and I said, hey, will you trade me positions? I will do your security position in a traffic spot. You can be in the parade. Hey, Officer Moutsos, no problem. I understand. So we switched. 1 hour later, I got an email down from the chain of command that said there will be no switching positions in this parade. So they knew that I had a trade. So I had to write an email up the chain. You have to understand that I love all people. If this was an abortion parade, I would ask not to be in it, because the police need to be neutral in these things. Not in Salt Lake City. 2 days later, they pulled me in the office and they took my badge and my gun for discrimination. This was 7 years ago, guys. I'm not a victim, by the way, okay? My mom told me, don't work for that department, and I didn't listen to my mom, so kids, listen to your parents. Because I didn't think, why would a police department be political? Why? Well, as we have seen, most things have been hijacked by the left. Our school systems, hijacked. Police, hijacked. Medical world, hijacked. How many people are in the medical world here? Raise your hand. Hijacked. And now they're starting to force this human science experiment onto everybody. I heard him speaking, we don't need a medical exemption. We don't need a religious exemption. What about, hey, I'm an American citizen and I don't want it. Are we good on time? Where are we at on time? Okay, so what is happening? I'm just going to get down to it, okay? I believe in God. I believe that God, this land, the United States of America, is a special place. This land was ordained by God to be the promised land. This country was built from our founders. Because why? They fled from a wild and out of control government that was forcing their politics mixed with religion on the people. And so they left hundreds of years ago. And this country was born from pushing against a very radical and out of control government. That's how the United States of America was born. Okay? And where are we today? One of the speakers, I don't know who said it, they said, we're not going anywhere. Guess what, gang? There's no more Plymouth Rocks to go. This is it. This is it. We have to make our stand, and the only way to do it is to gather together in groups. 400 years ago, the Mayflower came across. You know how many people were on the Mayflower? 51. Okay? 51 people. Okay? They landed on, they started to till. Guess what? Their crops weren't growing. Nothing was happening. Okay? Nothing was going, they couldn't get their crops going. They were gonna die. And so they said a prayer. And they fasted and they prayed. And they asked God to help. And a light storm came for about 2 weeks, a light rain. And everything came to be. And that's one of the miracles. There's so many miracles of how America came to be. But it was because they prayed. It was because they asked for divine help. And we're in a place now where we have taken God out of the equation. We've taken him out. And he can't help us unless we ask for his help. And so our society has gotten to a place where we can't talk about politics and we can't talk about religion. Those are the no-nos. And then all of a sudden this last year, what did we get hit with? Politics. And now you know what they're doing? You know what our governor in Utah just did? He sent out a tweet, okay? And he's supposed to be conservative, okay? Governor Cox. He said, I've never seen a modern day parallel. This guy used to be a bishop. I've never seen a modern day parallel in scriptures to today. But this mask, it reminds me of looking to the serpent. Remember that in Moses' time? All you had to do is look to and live. So in other words, the mask is like Jesus. And so what you're seeing in a lot of these states is they've taken this mask and this vaccine and whatever it is that they're going to bring in, this New World Order garbage, all in the name of love and all in the name of safety. You understand? And so they're gonna shame you using God. And I want to testify to you today that God created us to gather. Amen. The devil divides and God gathers. God created us. God created us with immune systems to fight off a virus with a 99.8 survivability rate. Did you know that? That's how he made us. And he made us to be free. Freedom and liberty are not the same things. A lot of people think that freedom and liberty are the same thing. They're not. Okay? When I would arrest people and they'd be in my car, they had their hands behind their back handcuffed and they had the freedom to look left or look right. That was about it. So freedom plus bad choice equals bondage. Freedom plus morality equals liberty. And you can't have liberty without morality. And what the government is doing is immoral. Do you understand? And it's immoral for us to go along with it. It's just as immoral. I can't remember who said it, but rebellion to tyranny is obedience to God. Do you understand? Now, what I'm not saying is to fight. I'm not saying physically. Now, there may come a point, but what I am saying is that there comes a time when we do not comply. I just went to a restaurant, I don't even know where we're at, in Waikiki. And they said, oh, you need to beep in so they can contact trace you. What? We don't do that in Utah, okay? At least a whole bunch of us. And I said, I'm not doing that. And the girl didn't even know what to say. I'm not doing that. And so, well, just wave your phone over the thing. So I was like, okay. I didn't do anything. So we went down and ate. Right now is the time to not comply. And if it means going and sitting in a county jail, great. That's what it means. Because if that's the only way that it's going to, if that's what it's going to take, that's what we have to do, okay? So after I got out of law enforcement, I kind of fled. I got out of I fled Babylon. Does anyone know Utah very well? I lived up in Salt Lake where it's just, it is the belly of the beast, okay? So I took my family and we fled. We fled Babylon. We went to Zion, literally Zion National Park. We lived like 45 minutes. And I got into business world. I can't believe I was ever a cop. By the way, you got to read my book, okay? It's free. It's my whole story, okay? I've got a crazy life story. You think Forrest Gump's good? I'm telling you. I've got a crazy story. I was on Evander Holyfield's record label for 4 years. So you know what? I gotta take a picture. I'm gonna try Colin Holyfield. No, I'm not gonna do it. But Evander Holyfield's one of my best friends. And that was by the grace of God through music. And we got him out, and he's actually in the film for just a brief moment. But do you guys mind if I get a selfie with you? Okay. All right, I'm gonna go this way. Raise your hand, say aloha. And then this way, aloha. Gosh, I love it. So quick story, so I'm gonna introduce the film here. So, 2 weeks to slow the spread, okay? We're sitting in our house, I'm trying to be a good little global citizen. And then I get a phone call, I get a text message, a couple texts and a phone call from some of my former Salt Lake police officer friends. And they said, Eric, the mayor set up a snitch line and we are going on calls to tell neighbors to get away from each other. This is in Salt Lake. And it fired me up so much. And this is what you're about to see. This is how it began, okay? Because all I was doing was just posting memes like crazy. I mean, how many people are memes not the greatest thing ever? look up on Facebook the Utah Revival right now and just join, because I'm telling you, memes have been my drug. Memes have been my drug of choice. So I was just posting memes like crazy, like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And then they called and said, hey, there's a snitch line. And it really fired me up. And so I called the snitch line on myself. And I said, hey, there's gonna be a former police officer and he's gonna do a big rally this Saturday. Well, he can't do that. And I said, oh, he's going to, he's coming. So let the mayor know, let the police chief know. And so that's what you're about to see, but I just said a prayer and I just asked God, what can I do? And then I just had this idea, these thoughts came to my head that I just saw in my mind all these small businesses coming to parks and that we were going to help them. And so I created a group called the Utah Business Revival. And in the Utah Business Revival, we were going to protest, but we were going to protest by saving these small businesses. So we started doing these calls to actions and thousands of people were starting to show up, and I would call the sheriffs and say, hey, are you going to arrest us? Nope, we're coming. Boom, call to action. All these booths would just show up everywhere. And we would just shop and we'd play music. And then this guy came up to me and he's like, hey, this is what I do. And he showed me a bunch of stages, like music stages, you know, big music stages. I did concerts, but we're shut down. And I just looked at it. I'm like, we're going to have a concert. We're going to have a concert. And so in other words, we put on the first concert in America since COVID-19 in Utah. So you're going to see that. And so I have a few thoughts too. If you guys have not read this book, so get out your phones because I want you to write this down. In fact, I don't even know where you get this. It might be Amazon, but it's called The 5,000-Year Leap, okay? It's called The 5,000-Year Leap. All right? It's a miracle that changed the world. Please get that book. A few thoughts too before we get this movie started, like right now. I want to thank Gary. Where you at, Gary? Gary, thank you. Give a round of applause to Gary. Please join him. I had a really strong impression. I could be wrong. I had a really strong impression that Pastor, is it Bud? Pastor Bud. Hell's going to be coming at him. And so you guys need to rally around him. When he talks about spiritual war, listen, this isn't conservative versus liberal, Democrat, Republican. This is a war between good versus evil. And if you can feel that in your heart, I believe God called you at this time, okay? He called you to be on the front lines. I watched a documentary a long time ago. It was called The Star. And it was about the Star of Bethlehem. And it was this attorney, I think he was an attorney, but he got into astronomy. And he started to look at stars. I don't look at this thing, but he got into it. And he came across this software where he could see stars in certain places on this software. So let's say there's a star here tonight, okay? Well, he could move this software 2 years ahead and he could see where it's going to be at, right? Well, he could go back 2 years and he could see where it's at. Well, he took this software and he took this back 2,000 years to see if there really was a star 2,000 years ago. And it turns out there wasn't a single star. But what there was there were several stars lined up to make one big star at an exact time and space to show people that Jesus Christ was coming. So God had the wisdom to line those stars up at a perfect time long before they were going to come. And I want to testify that we are more important than stars. And that God has placed you here at this exact time to shine right now. Okay? I testify of that, and I know that it's true. And I know that it's scary, okay? I know that it's scary to post things on social media. I know that it's scary to not want to get in fights with family members that are probably shaming you because you're not wearing a germ diaper right now. Okay? But right now is the time to make your voice heard. You know, they said, Pastor Bud, that he lost, you know, and that he failed. He didn't fail, okay? Noah came before the flood. We're here before the fire. Do you understand? And nothing's gonna stop it. So I don't think that God's gonna say, did you stop the flood? Well, no. How many people were on the boat? 8. 8 people were on that boat when being right really mattered. Spiritually, before the fire, God might not ask, did you stop it? Because it's coming. But what he will ask is, where did you stand? Where did you stand? So Pastor Bud, where are you at? You're on the right side. And when, there he is. Pastor Bud, come here. Come here, Bud. Give a round of applause for Pastor Bud. You guys, even if you're not, listen, even if you're not saved, even if you're not Christian, if you don't identify it, come here. Because when this war gets even crunched down even harder and harder and harder, the thing that's going to be true are true principles, which is light, which is freedom. And so, can you just say a few things, Pastor Bud, just for a minute before?
Can I say a few things? Can I say a few things? Oh my goodness. We're never going to get to this movie. It's movie night, right? Do you remember when we would go to the movies? What to say? I'm proud of you for being here today. I know that many of you are being pinched, aren't you? We have begun to experience the big squeeze, the tribulation of the hatred of the world toward us. Jesus teaches in the scripture, leads us to understand that God will save us from his wrath when he pours out his wrath on the earth. But Jesus said, in this world you'll have tribulation. And now we're experiencing that. We're being pressed and squeezed. And the things that our government is doing is criminal. Now the Bible tells us in Romans 13 that we should submit to authorities. And God gives a list there of the reasons why authorities are given. And they are to be a threat or an intimidation to evil, and to be a blessing to the good. Now, when a government is no longer a blessing to the good, but they threaten the good, and they encourage the evil, they have fallen out of God's role for government. And we're called to be good citizens, and we are good citizens, and a good citizen will stand up against a corrupt government that is seeking to enslave their neighbors, you see. I cannot claim to be a good citizen if I sit by idly while my neighbor's house is broken into and his family ravished and his goods taken. I have to, as a person that fears God, stand up and say, stop, to call the authorities to intervene in some way. And so it behooves any person with any human dignity or love for mankind at this time to stand up and to say no to the government, to say no. We are upon a precipice where if we do not stand up now, there will never be a chance to stand up again. Our freedoms and our voice will be taken for good if the people of our laina do not stand up. Where are my Hawaiians here tonight? love you too. Who are you? Is that Kawika? Can I ask Kawika to come up here? They're giving me permission to ask you to come up here, my brother.
Yeah.
We need leaders in our Hawaiian community, and I'm so grateful to be a friend and a brother to one such great leader, my friend Kawika Kahiapo. Would you share a few words with us?
This band is my kahu now. I'm ordained and birthed out of Grace Bible years ago, hanging out with Russ Stewart and Sam Webb. And for the season we're in now, my wife and I, we're here for the word, for the fellowship, for the community, for the outreach, for the mala, and all that we want to do for one another. So it's all the certain chords are being struck, and so I'm blowing my mind how many of you are here tonight, and we need to unite. You know, it's like when we dwell together in unity, the blessing comes, and I think this is the beginning of something really strategic and powerful. So I just want to say, stay prayed up, and for all of you out there, just I represent the Hawaiian community. My brother Leon Siu is out there. For all the issues that we've been struggling and trying to advocate for decades, whatever the issue is, we feel like this is the cusp for a strategic place where, I just want to challenge all the Hawaiians, part Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians who are Hawaiian at heart, for the way of life here in these islands. You know, God has a prophetic plan. I don't know if you understand or even know what's happening. Before this place was even inhabited, I was told, I was at the campaign at Sherwood Forest a couple years ago, and we won that thing. And it was based on the fact that we knew there was kupuna, there was iwi kupuna in the ground, and this historic significance with Hunana Niho. I guess we call it Sherwood Forest, but some historic thing at the federal level declared that that place was not only a sacred place, but the #1 archaeologist of all of Pacifica confirmed that in his timeline, his theory is that the first people to inhabit the Hawaiian Islands during the migration was here at Sherwood Forest. And so for the history, and I believe our I say prophetic timeline, because Genesis 11, in our proud sort of haughty way, they built the Tower of Babel. And what did God do? God said, I confused the languages, right? So we all spoke one language, the word says. I think, other than sending us his son Jesus, the next beautiful thing God did was give us diversity. I feel, that's my feeling anyway. So in the dispersions of people, Genesis 11, they went and God led them throughout the earth, and the dispersion of people went, you know, Acts says that people inhabited certain places, and in the rise and fall of their history, they would seek after him and they would find him, because he's not far from any one of us. So not just the Polynesians, just all our people groups represented here from, my guess, 50 nations in just this area tonight. We need to know that we need to seek him out. And Hawaii is a beautiful place to do it, because I think in some heavy end time stuff, I think God's fulfillment of Anti-Pilahi Paki's prophecy that the world in a time of chaos will look here, because Aloha is the key. What is Aloha? God in nothingness spoke, formed, the earth, the firmament, the land, the water. And from the lepo, he formed Adam. Watch this. The first act of Aloha was when God, Honi Adam, breathed into his nostrils, which set into motion all of mankind. The power of Aloha facing towards divine breath. So the first act of Aloha was God breathing to Adam's nostrils. And we understand now, perfect love casts out all fear. And Aloha is the greatest, and that's what will carry us into the future. Hawaiians, non-Hawaiians in these islands, for something that God's going to do on a global level.
That's what the Aloha Revolution was about. That God desires people to live in peace and at liberty. And yet, the things that we've seen are strangling those elements of our humanity. I mean, to think of children that were born, a year and a half ago, they haven't seen the lovely faces of people passing by. We haven't seen friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're saying, "Stay away from me, pull up your mask." We can't live in a world like that. It's not what God desires. And I pray that God would do a great thing. And I would ask you to just begin to be the kingdom of light. Just claim God's authority and power because He's made you in His image. You have God's anointing and power on you. You're a being with choice and dignity and rights. And our nation is framed upon those ideas that the rights that we have are granted by our Creator, and governments are put in place to defend those rights. Right now, our government is not defending those rights, and we must be the conscience of the state. Sometimes you'll do something wrong and your conscience will bother you. I hope it bothers you. Sometimes we do things wrong and it doesn't bother us. We should be bothered by that. But we need to have a voice to our community and to our leaders to say that this course of action and this path is wrong, it is inhumane, it is cruel, it is unjust, it separates families and it sows discord and suspicion and judgmentalism. It is wrong for the people of Hawaii. We have a new path, a different path, a path of light and love and community. We have medications. We do not need to be forced into this surveillance identity state where you are forced by means of losing your paycheck or not having your kids in school or playing sports or seeing grandmother on her deathbed. The whole gamut of suffering is needless, and it can end in a moment if we would shed these lies and be free from this demonic doctrine. So I thank you for being here, and I'm so glad to be part of your family. I'm not on social media, so if you want to talk to me, you can come here, and I'd be happy to talk to you.
That's right.
They can't cancel me. I was canceled a long time ago. So, thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. I wanted to, thank you, bud. So I really have a strong impression they're going to be coming after him, so you guys need to gather around him and gather around this beautiful, blessed place. It's amazing. There's a spirit here. I hope you can feel the spirit of liberty here, because it's a real thing. It's just like fear, but the opposite. The reason why God is liberated, the most liberated being in the universe, is because He makes righteous choices. And we cannot be liberated. We cannot be free. We cannot have liberty if we don't make righteous choices. And doing nothing is a choice. There's consequences for doing nothing. And so in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17, it says, "Now the Lord is that Spirit. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." And so, men, my last message before we start the film, I promise this is my last message. We need men's voices. It's like 99 women to 1 for whatever reason. I don't know what that is. We need more men to speak. I know that your job is on the line, but I want to testify something to you. As one who has lost his job, that God will protect you. He will protect your family. I promise you. Okay. So non-essential. So there was a guy that came around and filmed all of the events that we did. He had a feeling to just come and film, and that's what you're about to see. Okay. What we did in Utah to push back during the film. You can boo. You can cheer. There's a part where you can sing. Please do it. You can stand up and sing, and you'll know what I'm talking about, okay? So enjoy Non-Essential. After this, I'll give you the link so you can share it with all your friends for free, okay? Thank you, and God bless you. There's a whole bunch of spots up here too if you guys want to come up here, and little kids can come sit up here too.
I think you misunderstand the meaning of the word.
The state of Utah has now seen its first death.
Governor Herbert gave a series of directives. Spencer Cox will lead that task force, mandating which businesses need to close and which are considered essential.
Not essential. I teach history and literature. It's when it's not essential.
How do you say Hanoho? I say Hanoho to the truth. Because we can bring the truth every day. 3 hours ago, I said that we would have a great evening. An evening full of life, full of substance, full of sobriety, full of hope. I don't know about you, but my expectations are like rocked. Right? Anybody? Does anybody have that experience tonight? This is what life feels like. Look around, just look around. Notice the people that are here. I mean, honestly, just have a look. Go on. Bud just texted me this note. Kainalo Elementary is in Kailua. Most of you are familiar if you're on the windward side, right?
She's here.
All right. I mentioned when we first started the evening as well, that tonight is an invitation, and that it's quite sober because of the circumstances we find ourselves in as a community, as a state. He sent me this text, and I have to share it. This is a young boy. He says,
This is the ball right here.
come on up here. Who better to share the story but the mom? Okay. Where's he at? Mylan. Mylan, are you here? You want to come up here? If he rolls up, good. If not, we're going to roll. So from the Dead Sea Scrolls to my hot little hands in Waimanalo, Mylan writes, I had to be last to get lunch. I could not use the male boys' bathroom. I had to use the family bathroom. I was at the back of the class and I could not hear or see. I was last in line the whole time. I had a bin next to me that had all my stuff. Look, I drew a diagram. Cool little picture. And he shows the classroom with all the bins, and he shows that X through his bin. And he said, me and my stuff. When I talk about legacy, this is the way our kids are being treated right now. Yeah. Mylan is a student at Kainalo Elementary. He's pushed to the back of the bus. He's segregated from his friends. He's ostracized and embarrassed. Now, I'm just making this up because I was a young man at one point. This evening is an invitation. This is an explanation point. You must stand for him. I have 7 grandkids. I love them, and that's why I'm here. Honestly, the day we started, I said, I'm standing because I have 7 grandkids. I could eat peanut butter and jelly and make it to the end.
Amen.
Pop, pop. That's what my grandkids call me, Pop. So I say to you, each of you, that each of you are a unique gift, full of glory and passion. And the thing that you're probably most afraid of is the unprecedented potential that you possess. Each one of you can transform your community, but together we can change the trajectory of the state. So, I gotta get a picture of Mylan from my refrigerator, but it doesn't stick because it's stainless. Isn't that lame? You know what I mean? How many of you have a refrigerator where the thing doesn't stick? When you grew up, everything was on the fridge, right? Yeah. That's so lame. Where's he at? Hey, Mylan, give us a shocker, brother. Come here real quick. Really quick. Burn rubber, brother. Get up here. You can tell he kind of wants to, but not really. So, can I just say, this is the reason why we fight.
Right.
Thank you.
I stand along a legacy piece right here. And what we're going to do, actually, I mentioned earlier when we started, we were talking about a fundraising campaign to raise funds to litigate this. So what we're actually going to do it. We've talked to the team throughout the meeting, and we want to do two things, actually. One is we want to bless Eric. Right? How many of you know that he came here on his own dime? No one knows that, do they? He flew here and his kids, he paid his own way. Isn't that awesome? Huh? You want to know what a servant looks like? The guy who pays his own way to give himself. So we're going to have a bowl in the back, koa bowl. Jody, would you look back there and see that koa bowl? So on your way out, we don't want you to blast out of here because I have a special blessing for you, a special gift. On your way out, I want you to fill that bowl with money. I want it so it's coming out. I don't want it so you can reach into the bowl. I want them to catch it as it falls out of the bowl. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. Amen. Who said that over there? I love that girl. Thank you. In addition to that, if you don't have cash, in this wonderful digital age, you can send Eric money Venmo. Did you know that? Who knows how to do that, honestly? Yes. See? I'm not alone. I'm like the 95% that cannot do that. I'm old school, dude. He could probably do it. Anyway, so Eric, I would like you, at the end of your song, he's going to sing for us. I would like you to get out your phone. I'd like you to get out your phone. Not in a second, not in a moment. But while this transition time is going on, and I want you to be able to copy down Eric's Venmo information, how to do that. So if you're unable to fill that, I know you're able. But if you don't have your cash with you tonight, you prefer to do it via Venmo, then he'll tell you how to do it, right, Eric? Does that sound good? Yeah, he sounds good. He's kissing his daughter. What's better than that? Okay, and then finally, we are going to have, Aloha Freedom Coalition is going to have in the back, we're going to have these 3 white bags, and it's going to say donate on them. Look in the back there. Everybody looking around there? See those wonderful warriors back there?
Oh, yep.
If you'd like to support Aloha Freedom Coalition in our stand, we need your support. We need your support. We need you to fill those bags. And if you're unable, like that, and you don't have cash, you can see Chris. Will you raise your hand, Chris? Where's Chris at? There he is, raised. There's Chris. He's got some tablets back there, and he can take your Venmo via AFC. And then finally, well, not quite finally, you can go to the AlohaFreedomCoalition.org, and there's this wonderful, everybody has a donate button right up front now. You notice that? Now I know why. Right? Anyway, you should not be afraid. You have not because you ask not. This is what the scripture says. You have not because you ask not, and when you do, you ask with the wrong motives. I assert that our motive is pure, for it's for young men like this. All right? So, one final announcement. One final announcement. Monday morning, Thomas Square, 10 a.m., we're going to march. So, there's a couple of things going on. 10 a.m. Thomas Square, we're going to march, and we're going to go find somebody's door to bang on. I don't know who it is. Julie's got that thing going. She's got her hands in the air. She's like, let's rock this thing. Chris said, let's buy 50 bullhorns. I said, what? Bring a bullhorn. Bring a pot. Bring a pan. Come. We're going to march for 3 hours, actually. 10 to 2, 10 to 1. Is that right? 10 to 1? In addition to that, there's a Walkout Wednesday. It's a national walkout against Biden's federal mandates. We're not clear about how we're going to do that, but we think it's going to be at Thomas Square. Well, it's called Walkout Wednesday. You can go online. You can't go on Google, but guess what? They don't care. Duck, duck, go. Go there. Finally, I want to bring Eric back up here and bless you with a song. So give some money to him. Give some money to AFC. And love your neighbor. Would you just love somebody? You know what, may I just say, if your neighbor took the shot and they're feeling awkward, will you just disarm that by just loving on them? It doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you love them more. Because may I tell you, they're going to need your love. Have a great night.
You guys want to hear a song? Okay, before I play, for everyone leaving, did you guys like the documentary? So get out your phones because I have a little text message. I set up this text message alert system once I started getting shadow banned. I've got like 20,000 followers on Instagram and they totally shadow banned me. I don't know if you know what that means, but you have to look up my whole name and I don't even show up in people's feeds anymore. But, so if you text the word, so if you go to your send a text message, you're gonna type in 888-210-6260. I'll say it again. So 888-210-6260. And you're gonna text the word liberty to that number. Let me know if you guys, I'll say it again. So you're gonna text the word liberty to 888-210-6260. Are you starting to get the text message alert? So the first thing should be my Telegram channel. The second thing should be my webpage. Now on my webpage, it's ericmoutsos.com. By the way, if you guys do want to help out in Venmo, thank you. You can go at Eric-Moutsos. That's a tough last name, I know. There's not a lot. Yeah, so, yeah. And then there's a lot of people say, what do you do for work? I have a supplement company that I just launched like, I don't know, 5 months ago. It's been a brainchild of mine for like 2 years now, but I've got it's called Freedom Blends. And it's supplements based on the principles of freedom and liberty. So I've got First Amendment multis, I've got a commie cleanse, I've got a pro-life protein, and then I've got an incredible product called Freedom Fuel, and it's all your fruits and vegetables in a capsule. It just makes so you don't crave sugar. Anyway, and it works, it really does, it's awesome. And so you'll get a text message back. Do you guys need me to say it again? Okay, so text the word liberty to 888-210-6260. Now on ericmoutsos.com, my blog's on there, my book, Dispatch, it's about all my police stories. You can read it for free. You can get on Amazon. There's a link on menu that says non-essential. That's the link to the film, and that's free. So you could please share it. So your call to action is to share it with as many freedom-loving friends as you can, because we got to get this thing spread, because my website is shadow banned. And so text it to people. But I'm going to do a song for you, okay? Just go without. At the very bottom it says do it without. On Venmo it'll say what's the last 4 digits, just below it says continue on. I'm the only Eric Moutsos in the world, so. There's not a lot of Greek Mormons running around. There's not a lot of Greek Mormon country singing former cops running around. Okay, so hopefully this comes through. Can you hear that? Oh, I'd play that Johnny Cash song. My little girl's like, will you play Johnny Cash? Gosh, it's just like, I hear the train a-comin', it's a-rollin' around the bend. Come on now. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Well, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. I should say I'm stuck in quarantine in Hawaii. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. Well, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Woo! When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. I know, I'm not the best guitar player, okay? It's been like 10 years. It's kind of funny because you realize, like, why you can't connect dots until later on in life. You meet somebody and you don't know why you met him. I had Colin Ray on my phone for like 15 years, and I didn't know why. Like, why do I still have him? And I just keep him in your phone, just keep him in your phone. And then when I had this thought, I was like, we're gonna do a concert and I'm gonna call Colin Ray, and that's how it happened. And so sometimes God will put people in your path and you don't know why. And you can look back and you can see all those dots being connected, but you can't look forward and see why. And so that's why it's so important that when someone calls you and says, hey, we want you to come to Hawaii, and you tell your wife, hey, so I know you can't come because you're working, but can I take the girls to Hawaii? Without you? So anyway, I'm so glad that I'm here, okay? I'm so glad I'm here with you. Because I do believe that we're in a fight for souls. We're in a fight for souls. And the good news is about God is that you can be renewed every day through the Spirit. And that's what Christ taught. He didn't go around and teach fear. He hung out with the people that had problems. How many have problems here? I do, a lot. My girls, they said, okay, Dad, this was yesterday, they said, okay, for 24 hours, you cannot use the words commie, masks, social distancing, Biden's possessed by the devil. You can't say those words for 20. They sat me down yesterday, and then one of them's like, well, he's speaking tomorrow. And they're like, crap. Well, Sunday, you can't do 24-hour Sunday. I'm like, okay, that's a deal. So tomorrow, guys, I can't do anything tomorrow except talk about God. So you guys got it, because that's what we're going to talk about. So this song, hopefully this comes through, but this one means a lot to me because it's about surrendering. And I remember when I was a cop is when I was born again. How many people have been born again? Can you raise your hand? It's amazing. Because you know when it happens. Your spiritual eyes are open. And I was born again when I started to serve the homeless people of Salt Lake City. And that's actually in my book. It's called Dispatch. But when I started to serve people and I started to think of them before myself, even as a policeman, that's when I was born again. And it's an amazing thing, because that's the beautiful thing about God, is that He can renew us, like I was saying, every single day. And He gave us the gift of repentance to be able to repent of the things that we do wrong, and we can be renewed every single day. And so this song is called I Surrender. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but it's not my song, but it's a cover song. So I'm a little rusty, okay?
Here I am, down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me here, Lord, as you draw me near. I'm desperate for you. I'm desperate for you. I surrender. Drench my soul as mercy and grace unfold. I hunger and thirst, hunger and thirst. Arms stretched wide, I know you can hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me now. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more. Like a rushing wind, Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more. Thank you.
Okay, so the last thing that I want to say before we end tonight is this. You probably are thinking, what can I do? Okay, that's great. You guys are doing this, what can I do? And I want to testify that it starts with the power of prayer. The whole Utah Business Revival, all of that came because I prayed about it and I had a thought, and that's how it works. Faith is not just belief. Faith is action in what you believe. And so there's a quote by a man who was an apostle in my faith, and his name was Neil A. Maxwell. And he said that God does not begin by asking us about our ability, but only our availability. And when we prove our dependability, He will increase our capability. And that's how it works. That's how light works. When you act, you gain a little bit more light, and angels will help. And when you do that, God will see, oh wow, You'll do that. Okay, let's give them another thought. Are you going to do that? Are you going to do that? So sometimes when you pray, what can I do? The thought might just be, do the dishes. I'm serious. And then your wife's like, why are you doing the dishes? I don't know. And then when you don't do them, go and do the dishes. Because it starts with the small and simple little things in your house to get your house in order. I'm not saying mine's in order at all, okay, because I got 4 kids. Huh, girls? But what I'm saying is God will bless you with the ability to do things that you never thought you could do. And that He's given you gifts and talents to shine. And that's why Jesus said, let your light shine. And they didn't like Him. And Jesus was canceled for a time until He rose again. And so I want to testify and leave you my testimony that Jesus Christ is the Savior of the world.
Hallelujah.
And He created us to be free.
That's right.
So thank you so much, and God bless America. Thank you.